Welcome back to the 30-day TikTok Growth Challenge. We want to get the Tech Herd's TikTok account up to 10,000 followers in the next 30 days. This video is part of a daily vlog series that we're going to release throughout the 30 days. We're going to review what videos we released today, how we came up with content, performance of yesterday's videos, and stick around till the end to see how many followers we got. And before we go any further, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to see tomorrow's results of today's videos. Day 3 of the TikTok Growth Challenge, trying to hit 10,000 followers in the next 30 days, hopefully less than 30 days. And I've had a look at yesterday's performance, the videos we did yesterday, all 5 in the end we did. 3 did well, 2 not so well. But the 3 that did well enough to carry us through and give us a much better set of results for today than day 1's videos gave us yesterday. I'd like to take one of the worst performing videos from yesterday, one of the better performing, and a historical video that we've done, which has done very well, and put the 3 together, put some stats, put some data beside each other for all 3 to see if we can come to any conclusions, see any correlations, identify anything that we need to be doing more of. So one of the worst performing was the importance of having an enemy, or the value of having an enemy. One of the better performing was working in the EU, about how easy it is to get jobs there at the minute. And I have a historical one here we did about 3 weeks ago, and it was about the London tech scene, getting jobs in the London tech scene. Now, let's just run through some of the stats on this. So, length of those videos, bit of a mix. 44.86 on the enemy, 36 seconds on the EU work. Historical was 58.77 seconds. So immediately take away from that, you can have a long video, you can have a short video. All of these are on the longer side for TikTok standards, but having a slightly longer video is certainly not an inhibitor of the video doing well. Views on these videos, which is really the metric I'm going off as to whether it's done well or not. 203 on the enemy, 3,583 on EU work, 29,400 on the historical. Now, with TikTok, I find that a video that does well, it does well for a long time. That historical one has had lots of time to accumulate views. There's every possibility that in the same amount of time, the EU work one will have the same amount of views. What won't change though is the percentages. So view to like ratio, length versus average watch time. They tend to stay static no matter, at least after a day's views, no matter how long you come back to it for. So for the purpose of analysis, I think we can still compare all. View to like ratio. So enemy 5.91, which is higher than a video that I would say did better, the EU work 3.18. So if we were to forget about the historical one for a second, we have a video here with higher amount of people who've watched it, liked it, actively liked it, than the video that got more views. So despite more people liking it, who've watched it, TikTok has decided to serve the EU work one to more people. That's interesting. The historical one has a ratio of 8.11% of likes. This is where it's useful having this historical video for some context. This tells us that based on the EU work, it's not necessary to have a huge view to like ratio, but it's not irrelevant clearly because this historical one has done quite well, very well in fact, and has a high view to like ratio. Equally, it's not a guarantee of doing well because the enemy one hasn't done well at all in terms of reach. Average watch time versus length of the video. So the average watch time on the enemy was 17.3 seconds. The average watch time on EU work, 24.7 seconds, and historical 31 seconds. I think as an individual number, it's kind of meaningless. It doesn't tell us very much. You need to look at that in terms of how long the actual video was. So for the enemy, 17.3 seconds is only 38.56% of the total length of the video. With EU work, the average watch time was 68.61% of the length. And with the historical, the average watch time was 52.75% of the length of the video. So one thing we can see on the 2 videos in this list of 3 that have done well, length versus average watch time is above 50%. And in fact, the length of the historical video is quite long. It's a much longer video than the EU work. So you would actually expect that to have a much lower average watch time anyway. And TikTok will accommodate you somewhat. If your video is very long, it demands less of you in terms of average watch time. So I would say there's certainly something to be aware of in the fact that both of those videos that have done well have quite a high length to average watch time. The watched in full, 17% on the enemy, 44% on the EU work, 17.5% on historical. So clearly a video can do well without having many people watching it in full. And this is why it's useful to have the context of that historical video, because if we didn't have it, I'd be looking at 44% here versus 17%, thinking, okay, well, we need to be hitting that sort of a region. So that's helpful. I've added the times posted for these videos, but I really don't think this makes much difference. You will find tons of videos on YouTube talking about how to do well on TikTok, and a lot of them will bring up the time you post as being very important. Maybe it is. It certainly isn't for me. It makes almost no difference for me. I know we've got 3 different videos here with 3 different times, so in a sense, this isn't a good evidence of what I'm saying. But just from looking at this more generally, I found it makes no difference to me. Maybe it's because of the type of content I do. Maybe it's the type of tags I'm doing. It perhaps has a slightly different audience base. The audience react differently. I don't know, but it's not something I stress too much on. The only thing I try and do is not post too close together, and this would be considered best practice, because if you post something that does well and it's circulating, if it gets on the For You page, TikTok won't put another of your video in front of the same person within an hour on the For You page, apparently. And before we move on, I just want to have a quick look at the tags that we use. So on the enemy, don't be afraid to have people root against you. We didn't really stick to our rules here, so maybe there's something in that. The rule of having 2 small, so 2 between 100,000 and 300,000. I only had 1. That's noteworthy, worth taking forward. Whereas on the one about the EU job market, we had 2 smalls and two bigs, and I guess an extra one working in Europe, which is kind of in limbo land there. I add sometimes tech herds to mine. There's no value in doing that. It's purely a vanity thing for me. When people type in tech herds, I want it to have a big number, so I slap it in there sometimes. I don't always do it. It certainly doesn't help the videos. Okay, we've looked at some stats there. It was my view anyway that the working in Europe video was going to do much better. As a piece of content, I just know it was a lot better than the other. However, it's useful to look at some of these differences data-wise, and certainly the videos I've done today have been mindful of some of what we've gone through here. Because we've spent quite a lot of time on the analysis, I won't spend too long looking at what we did today. Just to say, we've got 4 videos published, 1 in drafts, and just some stuff to maybe take note of. The average length across all the videos, 41 seconds, so I was trying to pay some attention to keeping the lengths down. 2 of them have music in them, because I've noticed some of the ones with music I've done have been doing well. I'm trying to repeat a style that people seem to like. I've been a bit more well-behaved with my tagging. I'm paying attention to my rule a little bit more. Reworked a video from yesterday that did really well, but with a different twist on it. So same format, same kind of a way of reeling out the information, of telling the story, same music, but slightly different subject, slightly different message. Reworked a video from earlier this week, which I think the content of was good. It was just the execution of the video that didn't allow it to happen, or didn't let it succeed. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see how these do. In terms of overall stats yesterday, so total video views 14,452, profile views 154, likes 751, comments 54, and shares 60. So if you compare that screen to the same screen of yesterday that we were looking at, it's over double. And finally, the all-important follower results. 1,961. This is exactly what we need to see, especially after what was essentially a poor start yesterday. And just to give you some context, if we were to continue at this rate over what remains of the next 30 days, that would mean a 7.28% increase each day, which would not only hit our 10,000 target, would see us at 13,000. Obviously, we need to see how today does, how today's videos do. We could be back down at yesterday's 3.28% by tomorrow. It's a journey. There's going to be ups and downs along the way. There's going to be moments where we think it's not going to happen. But to give us that little edge, throw in a little bit of a gamble on it and give us the slight shot of going to the moon, these people here, I am tweeting them every day, asking them to give us a little retweet just to help boost things up, because not only am I trying to hit 10,000 on TikTok, my Twitter has no one. I literally have no one following me. Kind of similar for Instagram. So please go on to Twitter, follow, and interact with these tweets that I'm sending to these people. And if you think I should add more people, if you think I should change someone in the list, leave a comment. And finally, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see tomorrow's results.